Oh, hey, just filling up a nice tray and about to cook some dinner. So I wanted to make a video about me making curry tonight because I'm not much of a cook. As a matter of fact, I really don't cook hardly ever. I eat out a lot, and eating out has always been an unhealthy option for me, and that's why I gain a bunch of weight, because when I eat out, I buy things that I wouldn't normally eat if I were cooking for myself or making food that was just basic and healthy, and food is fuel rather than fuel is something to do for fun. When you live alone, that's really a better option, because when you're cooking for yourself, it's a little bit hard to manage the amount of food that you make with the recipes that are out there, and it's not really worth cooking for just one meal. So the key is to be able to make recipes that are like 2 servings or 3 servings, that you can save 1 serving for the next day and have 1 serving for tonight. All right, so I have a really full refrigerator right now. I have some meats and stuff that I froze and put into these freezer mates from Tupperware. And let's see here. Yeah, so this is basically what I'm doing, and it's blowing my mind because I forget little bits of this recipe. It's something that I actually learned a long time ago, how to throw some ingredients together and make a nice little curry. I'm gonna use a pot. I don't know what you call this pot. Sorry, that's such a mess. It's like reality, but it's hard to clean sometimes when you're a bad cook and you mess stuff up. But I have this top which basically fits. I think I had another top for it, but it is gone on the wayside. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some oil in here, and I'm gonna break down the ground turkey that I'm using. Right here, it's a pound of ground turkey. It was really cool when I went to the store, and this, I know this sounds stupid because you probably do this all the time, but I bought a large pack of ground turkey, had about 3 pounds in it, came home, separated it, made 1 pound of it that night, which lasted actually a couple of days, because when I put this in recipes, it really turns out to be like four servings, which is actually what I'd want to have as a serving of meat or protein with my dinner anyway. So that's what I do, and I'm going to put that in there. But then I'm also going to take, I think, yeah, I may as well go all out. Let me take this down. That's kind of stupid. All right, I have 3 basic ingredients that go in first. I'm going to put the garlic, I'll put the onion. I'll probably put like 2 cloves of garlic and probably half an onion. And then I'm going to take maybe a little bit more than this of red potatoes. See, first things first. Sheesh. All right, first things first, chop things. All right, let's see. Another thing I'm into besides Tupperware is Fiestaware, so I love the colorfulness of it all. And it's funny because I have all of this stuff that I've collected over the years. Just forever I've been collecting it, and I rarely use it because of my lifestyle, but this week that we've been on this self-isolation, it's amazing how I'm making use of all this stuff. So let's see, as I'm chopping the onion and stuff. Now I'm terrible at this, and I haven't watched any tutorials or anything. Look at this knife. It's a Tupperware knife. So this is what I'm going to do, and you can like ream me out if I'm doing it wrong. I think what I'm going to do is kind of cut off the ends, chop it in the middle, and then kind of go chop, 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 like that. And it's probably wrong, and there's probably such a better way to do this, but I am not aware of that way because I don't really watch cooking shows and all that. To be honest with you, ugh, too much light in here, right? Sorry, I like it dark. Wow, how do you get this damn skin off of an onion? It's like, a mystery to me. I feel like an idiot because, you know, I'm 48 years old and I'm doing some basic cooking with an onion. And, you know, to be honest with you, if I'm not eating out, I'm eating frozen dinners. And I try to get the healthier version of frozen dinners, but I can only do so much. Yes, my hands are washed. And I'm the only one that's going to be eating this because I live alone. And that's where my self-isolation is at the moment. So look, I cut it this way. Can you see that? Oops. Yeah. You see the way I cut it? Well, that's probably not. Shut up. Let me see. How do these YouTubers like make it focus? There we go. I just think it's pretty that way. And then I just kind of like slice it like this. And it makes fairly large pieces of onion, but I actually kind of do it as thinly as I possibly, not thinly as I possibly can, but fairly thin. That's how thin I do it, actually. And then, you know, sort of cooks and separates when it's in the pan. I know that there are probably a million better ways than this to do it, but you know, that's what it's like when you're sort of raised on instant like I was. That's just the way it was back in the day. My mom worked, my dad worked, my sister and I usually would put something that was in the fridge or the freezer into the oven, and that was all we had to do. We were latchkey kids. But, yeah, we never had to do anything like major cooking because, you know, if that wasn't there, there were frozen dinners. I remember those old frozen dinners that had the aluminum foil on them, and they would cook a brownie, and, you know, that was the exciting thing, was that you were getting a brownie with dinner because, you know, normally you wouldn't get some dessert like that, really, unless it was a special occasion. All right, so look. Bowl full of onions, and I didn't even cry. What is up with that? Maybe that's the way I cut it, because the other day I cut it differently and I was just tearing up like crazy. All right, so let me grab a couple of teeth. Let me see if I have something here. Oh, look at this. So normally when I make curry the instant way, I just use, you know, this paste. This is for a tikka masala. I'm not using that today. I'm gonna go rogue. Alright, so just rip apart this garlic thing. It's like, again, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But one thing I do know is it has this like little bit of whatchamacallit skin on it that's still there. And I've heard, let's see if I'm right about this. I'll show you what I'm doing. Alright, so this is what I was told to do. I was told to take it like this. Put it down there. Wow, this lighting is terrible. All right, here we go. And then they just said to sort of, okay, that didn't work. Didn't make any sound or whatever. Let's see. That one, see. And then that paper just comes off, and then you have the garlic right in here. Take off that little piece. All right. There, a little bit there. Okay, this other one, same thing. Came right off. Now I'm just gonna, I don't know, I think I'm gonna dice this maybe. Not sure. I actually love garlic, and I don't mind it when it's present in big chunks in my food. I don't know if that's just a preference that I developed or something. Here's a funny story. Getting hot in here. So funny story is, when I was a kid, I don't want to call this person out, but there was this person who was in charge of dinner sometimes, and whenever they would cook and there was garlic in it, it was sort of considered an insult to get like a big chunk of garlic, because the cook would normally put the garlic in and then take that chunk out or whatever. But that is not the case with this individual. Oops, let's see here. All right, so I would say coarsely chopped garlic. See, coarsely chopped. You saw it. And then I'm probably going to take 6 of these small potatoes, and I'm just going to like basically cut them in half. Real simple. I washed them, but I'm not even peeling them because I love the red skin and I think it gives a nice little color and texture. Okay, so basically, besides spices, actually I'm not going to do the ginger right now, sorry guys. I have a nice little piece of ginger that I picked up at the store, but not really into it at the moment. Keep the old noggin dry. Man, you know, I don't normally do this. So here I have the turkey. First thing, see how nicely that is kept in this Tupperware freezer made, or I forget what they call it, but love this thing. And it's really flexible, look at that. And when it thaws, you can just dump it right in. I'm going to turn this probably to 3/4 or whatever. Move this out of the way. Okay, I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to put, let's see, I'm going to use a little bit of EVOO just because that's what all the cooks that I like use. Just going to kind of like put it in the bottom a little bit. Alright, so I'm ready to go. This is heating up. Got to heat it up just a little bit more. While I have a moment, I'm going to take my old Brita filter and make some water, because you can never have enough water these days, especially with being outside with the dogs a little bit more often. They get really thirsty, need to be rehydrated, so got to keep this water pitcher filled. Oh my goodness, the dogs are staring at me. They're like, when are we getting dinner? They're gonna get dinner soon, but I gotta work on this first. All right, now it seems ready. Look, I don't know what I'm doing, but let's just try this. A little bit of a sizzle, probably could have waited a little bit longer. Okay, I'm all about making things easier, so I think I'm going to use some diced tomatoes. Have you ever had these before, Rotel? I got the mild, so it's not going to be too hot, but man, they're so good. It's got green chilies and tomatoes diced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this with my little handy dandy Tupperware thingamajigger, which is always hard for me to like get started, but there we go. Once I get it started, look at that, it hooks on. Isn't that cool? And you go through this until it like makes this little click. Hold on, let me check on my meat. Uh-oh. Eesh. See, told you guys. Oh shit. Reminds me of this episode of American Housewife where Greg is always yelling at the kids for leaving the cupboards open, and I do that myself, so it was kind of hilarious. And Greg is actually my age, I think. He's a Gen Xer like me. All right, keep going on this Rotel. Boom, boom, boom. It'll make a little click. Like a pop. There it goes. Because what it's doing, it's only really taking, watch this, it's got a little grabber on there. And you just pop it right off like that. There's no sharp edges. Love it. If you're writing down, let's see. All right, if you're writing this down, I'm doing a half of a yellow onion, sliced or whatever, 2 cloves of garlic, about 6 red potatoes, small red potatoes. I have a pound of ground turkey that I'm going to use for this. And then I have my spices. I'm going to use coriander. I know I just said this. Crushed red pepper, hot curry powder, and a little bit of ground cumin, as well as the Rotel. Ooh, one last thing that I'll put on at the end. Someone who helped me a long time ago learned to make a recipe similar to this, got me on to using cilantro or any fresh herb at the end of a a thingamajig. So I'm just going to take and clean off the knife that I used and chop up some delicious fresh cilantro. Love it. This stuff is so good, and I put the stems as well as the leafy part into the dish. I think it makes it just absolutely delicious. And do you know what's funny? I didn't know this until a while back, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that cilantro is basically coriander. I don't know, but if you know, leave it in the comment below. I can't believe I'm going to post this video showing how inept I am in the kitchen, but hey, I'm going to do what I can. So then what do? I get so confused. I think I put in pretty much everything. No, I put in the onions. And potatoes. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And the garlic. And this is probably supposed to be done separately in a separate pot or a separate bowl. I know this, but make a little space for the garlic to get a little bit brown. Gosh, am I doing this all wrong? I don't know. This is what I'm doing. So this is not a cooking channel. This is pretty much a vlog of my experience cooking. Oh, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to even... So this is probably not right, but watch. I'm just going to put in... I like cumin. Probably about a tablespoon of cumin. God, that smell. That is such a sexy smell. Wait, what is cumin? I don't know. I'll put a little bit of coriander, less coriander. But I'm going to put in a good tablespoon of this curry powder. Delicious. Let's just see. I'm going to take this nice, look at that, nice, let me see. That's how much curry powder I'm putting in. I probably want more than that, but let's start with that. Stir this in. Actually, let's just put this on top. The Rotel. That gives it some moisture, and then I'm probably going to put a half cup of water in this as well, and then I'm going to cover it for about 20 minutes. God, this is probably not the best way to make this. This is what it looks like right now. Is that a mess or what? But it's, oh shoot, I almost spilled it. It's got, you know, nice bit of juice in there, and the tomatoes are also going to mix in with that as well. Alright, so I'm going to bring it up to a boil and then probably turn it down to simmer for about, you know, like a high simmer, a medium simmer for about 20 minutes. Okay, I'm back. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm looking at it now and it's like up to a boil, and one thing I remember my friend using whenever he would cook this certain dish that was kind of similar to this but different, he would use tomato paste, about a tablespoon or maybe half of a can or something, and I'm going to do that because I don't know, I just feel like I want a saucier kind of thing. Okay. I also added a little bit more curry powder, and it's up to a nice boil now. So I'm going to turn that down to about 3.5 or 4. Where's the lid? Sheesh. This is really weird because I didn't really go far. Ah, there it is. Funny, huh? Put it down to there. Now this lid has a little vent on it, which is nice. So I'm going to leave that going for a little while, and I'll check back in with you when this is about 15 minutes from now. Okay? Okay, so the last thing to do is plate it, and I've heated up my quinoa that I had made, and I'm keeping in the refrigerator for different recipes that I'm doing. But basically just got to fluff up the quinoa. I'm going to take this bowl, nice little Fiestaware bowl. Let me see. We'll take about 4 scoops. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just enough. I don't need more than that. And then I'm going to take a scoop of this with a couple of potatoes, got spinach and the ground beef. A nice little portion of that. Maybe a little bit more because I haven't eaten a lot today. There you go. And, you know, it's just basically a stew, like a curry stew or something like that. And, yep. And that's what it is. So now I'm just going to go enjoy it. Thanks for watching.